Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance Channel's Romance Roundup, your #1 source for romance book recs and book-to-screen recap reviews. I am Liz Donatelli.
And I'm Libby Kay, author of the sweet romance series Pine Grove FD. Book 4 comes out in June.
Watch and subscribe to Reader Seeks Romance Channel on YouTube, and listen and subscribe to Romance Roundup on PodBean and all podcast apps. Follow us on Instagram at Libby K Author and at Reader Seeks Romance. Libby and I are thrilled to welcome back to the show Libby's cousin, everyone's cousin, Carri Horner. Together we're LLC, because today we're in the business of building up your TBR list with our Olympic-themed romance recs. Cousin Carri, hello. Libby, hello.
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 Carri, it's fantastic to have you in our presence yet again.
I am so excited to be back. So thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for passing the test and loving heated rivalry. Otherwise, we wouldn't have extended the invitation.
I am so embarrassed of how late I came into that. Like, I should have been there. Like, I'd seen those books. I just hadn't read them. And now I feel silly about that because I've like rewatched the show like 3 or 4 times. Well, my husband's like one of those people where like he'll watch a movie he's seen before and like say the lines out loud, and it's annoying. And I am now that person for heated rivalry. So
it will not be so nice when we beat you.
What is your room number? Is your first time with the man?
Let's dive right in. Libby, let the roundup begin.
Giddy up, Liz. Here we go. I have to say that this was a bit of a labor of love for me to get to this point because I decided to read a Mariana Zapata book, also known as an epic. It is just under 550 pages. So I read From Lukov with Love. This came out in February of 2018. And actually, I think we might be on the 8-year anniversary of when it came out right now as we record. So what an 8 years it's been.
Wait, what is the title again? Did you say From Lukov?
From Lukov with Love. That is the name of the last name of our male protagonist.
Oh, I thought it was like a city in Russia or something. I believe you've mentioned previously, Carri, that you read Mariana's work, and they're very lengthy.
They require editing, is what they require. Like, I love it. You get really into it, but I feel like towards the end, there's about 5 or so extra chapters of which you thought like the book should have ended, but you keep going. And she's a really good writer, so like you stick around for the ride. But yeah, like I feel like every novel of hers that I've read, even the ones that I love the most, you could definitely cut like 100 pages very easily.
Okay.
Yes,
So it's
agreed.
interesting that you picked a Mariana Zapata book, Libby.
I did because, okay, so I've had this laying around for years because I loved The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, which I think is approximately 800 million pages.
Yes.
And that one hit a little differently for me. I agree, Carri. I usually feel the middle is, or the end, it was kind of like, come on, let's get to it already. This one, the difference for me is I feel like the middle could have been cut out. The last 65 pages are why I am recommending this book, because I stuck through. I was a good little romance reader, and I'm like, there's got to be a payoff at the end here somewhere. So that is, yes. So I will say, going into this, if you were looking for a quick read, save this for later, put it at the bottom of your Olympic TBR, because it took me a week and a half, and I am a pretty quick reader. But I was on the struggle bus a little bit in terms of how long it was, because I've realized, I don't know if I'm getting older or lazier or what, for me, if a book is more than 400 pages now, I actually hesitate to pick it up because I just feel like life is too short and my attention span maybe is changing, or I'm just a busy lady. But yeah, 500 plus pages for a contemporary romance is a lot.
Right. So you suggest reading the last 65 pages, and how much of the front if we wanted to make this the perfect read, would it be like the first 170 pages and the last 65? Like, what would you say?
I would say, okay, and you can't tell really, but I did dog ear, and I usually don't do that, so it's driving me a little crazy. I did dog ear a couple parts. the very beginning, you get the characters set up. It is a single POV, and that might have been part of my problem.
Oh,
Is I'm just so used to reading dual points of view, and I really wanted to hear more of Ivan's perspective. It was obvious what was going on because, hello, it's a romance novel. But for me, Jasmine, there was just several points where I just wanted to shake her and say, "What are you doing, girl?" So the gist of this book, it is a sports romance. It is a kind of enemies to lovers. It is the slowest of slow burns. But the gist is Jasmine is in her mid-20s, gasp, and aging, could potentially be aging out of figure skating competitions. And so she, at the beginning of the book, we learn, is unceremoniously dumped by her previous partner. And she is approached by who she thinks of as kind of a nemesis, him and his coach, for a 1 year contract to do pair skating together. And Ivan Lukov, who the book is named after, is, this dynamo. Everybody loves him. He has all these medals. Like, partnering with him is a no-brainer. My only dislike of the book is that I felt like the first two-thirds were just her hating him, even though he wasn't doing anything to really earn that kind of wrath. And the more you learn about their backstory, it was again kind of just, spoiler alert, a bit of a misunderstanding. So, but having said that, I think the other thing that was a little not tedious with the book, but I felt like could have been edited down. We meet her entire family, and she's one of like 8 million children.
What?
And it's like, yes, there's issues with her parents, there's issues with, life. I feel like they could have picked one issue and focused on that instead of having this long, drawn out, like, let's go to another family dinner with every sibling I have. And we're going to show again that Ivan is a good guy. That was kind of where I'm like, okay, we get it. We've established he's great. Like, get the family out of here and let's get to business. Like,
right.
literally.
Are you sure that you're recommending this
Yeah.
Olympic romance read?
Yes. And let me get
Okay.
to the part where I'm recommending it. So
Okay.
on my little dog ears here. All right. So page 462. You heard me right, folks. 462. We get our first little kiss. And it is a little kiss. When it happened, I was sitting on the recliner, scared the hell out of my husband because I actually yelled out, like, finally. It was perfect. And I'm like, okay, I see where we're going here. Again, page 462. Then again, if we keep on keeping on, page 510 is when we get down to business, folks. 550 plus pages, page 510 is when the romance starts, in my opinion. Those last 75 to 100 pages made the book worthwhile for me because if we wouldn't have gotten there or if the payoff would have been lame, I would not be sitting here and I would have said, oh, I have nothing to talk about. But there is something about her writing. Even though I was like, let's get to the point, I could not walk away. I needed to know how Ivan redeems himself in her eyes, how she kind of grows up and, accepts responsibility for certain things and tells certain people off. Um, I liked her character development. That was one thing we took so much time focusing on. The payoff for that was satisfying. And the epilogue was one of my favorite epilogues I've read in probably the last 6 months at least. Really liked it. It was like almost too perfect. It kind of reminded me of a Sarah Adams epilogue where I'm just like, oh, it's perfect already. And then you read the epilogue and you're like, oh, she got me again. Like it was great. So I am recommending this. I am just saying that go into it knowing you are going to need to read a lot to get to the actual meat of the romance book. And that's not a euphemism.
Now, would it be best for someone to read this book as an audiobook and just put it on like 3 times the speed?
I did do that. Now, it is a single point of view, but they have Teddy Hamilton reading the dialogue for Ivan. So I ended up putting this down and realizing that my local library, thank God, had it, and I checked it out. And that helped because I did have it on double speed while I was like doing stuff around the house. And so anytime you get to hear Teddy Hamilton talk, giddy up. So I would actually probably recommend the audiobook for those who prefer audio, just because then you can go faster. I did notice there were some scenes, especially with the siblings, and I was getting confused with who was married to who and who had kids and who didn't. And I was just like, I don't care. Like there was moments where those relationships did matter with her and Ivan and their love story. So like I get why they were there. But again, I think it's a Libby problem. I just don't think I'm meant to read over 500-page romance novels. Like this isn't Game of Thrones. We don't need it to be, in my opinion, that long. Which I know I'm against trend because I think, and please tell me if I'm wrong, ladies, I think romance books are only getting longer.
Yeah.
They are.
And for me, I feel like the sweet spot, and this is very specific, is like 326 pages. I feel like
Yes.
anything that's going to be more than, and I mean, very specific, like not 325, 326. It needs to be like even. But everything these days is over 400 pages. And I know we've had this discussion, Libby, where I'm like, is this because it's a lot of like indie writers and maybe there's less editing? And so, um, also, is it because there are audiobooks and there's a lot more like Kindle books, electronic books?
Hmm.
Because I know when you publish, they want you to write less because printing is really expensive. Um,
Yes.
so that's my only thought is like it must just be that these books are basically indie and not edited as well. That's just my thought. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I loved The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. That book was fantastic, and it was again, I think at least 500 some pages. It was
Very
huge.
long.
So yeah, I don't know. The one thing I will say, I have to, and I mean, like immediately, I have to watch The Cutting Edge because reading this book, I just had all these flashbacks to The Cutting Edge, and I'm like, damn it, I love that movie. And I don't know, I haven't seen it in ages, and it was one of those
Yeah.
movies when I was like I don't know when it came out. I was like, I don't know, a preteen. I just remember watching it on a loop, and the first time, again, dating myself, when it was on cable, and I taped it on our VCR. My dad, and Carrie, you obviously know my dad, he was so upset because he thought it was a horror movie because I had written Cutting Edge on it. And he's like, I don't want you watching these horror movies. And I'm like, but dad, it's a romance.
I
Oh,
tried to rewatch Cutting Edge, and the chemistry between the two leads isn't what I remember it to
Oh
have been.
no,
Yeah,
really?
like they seem so mismatched when I watch it now that I'm like, oh, like I think I don't know. So I almost feel like we need to rewatch it and talk about it and recap it.
There we go.
So is there an Olympic like scene?
Yes, off page, the Olympics happen. They compete in nationals and worlds on the page. And I don't want to spoil anything, but things go well. And I felt
Yeah.
like they go realistically at first, which I liked. But yeah, that was the other thing is there was so much focus on the training and on getting them, getting the media out for them as a couple. There were scenes there that kept me interested because you could see how Ivan and Jasmine connected and that he was because again we don't have his point of view but there were moments where he did things and you're like oh that was really sweet and in hindsight she's going to realize it was really sweet so but yeah it's Mariana makes you work for it which is not a bad thing if you're in the right headspace but for me I was definitely looking for a shorter simpler read but I'm glad I read it and I really am recommending it even though I just complained about it for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And again, the name is From Lukov with Love.
Yes, and my only other
Okay.
gripe is he gives her red roses, but they're from his sister. The gift he gives her at the end is very sweet and heartfelt, and obviously I understand why they didn't put it on the cover. But when he comes in with the roses, and she's like, "Oh, red roses," I'm like, we got to tie into the cover, and then he's like, they're from my sister," and I'm like, "Come on."
They're from his sister. His sister gave him red roses.
To give to her, she's friends with his sister. It's a whole thing.
I don't like that. Is that supposed to be like one of the grand gestures at the end? Is that, hey, here's some.
No, he
Oh,
just
okay.
comes in with that, and then you're thinking that's all he's going to give her, and then he gives her something very nice, which is like kind of a talisman for her. It's a bracelet.
Oh, okay.
Oops,
So there's
spoiler
more.
alert.
Okay. So, well, okay. Because just
Yeah.
giving like roses. At first, when you said roses from his sister, I thought it was like roses from his sister's grave. That he
Oh,
took the roses off the grave to give to her. I don't know why that was what I connected to.
he's like, hold on, I can't go to nationals. I have to rob my sister's grave for these
Grave.
flowers.
Because actually, I don't think that would be, I think that would be kind of a funny, like part of a rom-com scene.
Or like
Swipe
a dark romance.
or a dark romance. You mean after killing someone and they're buried, that you take their flowers and give it to
Yeah, it's
someone?
just like, oh no, I forgot I have a date. I'm going to steal these roses.
Yeah. Actually, I think that would be really romantic. Like I stole flowers off a grave for you. Oh, I don't know.
Valentine's Day is coming. I hope Tom's listening.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't care. All right. Carrie, share your Olympic romance book rec with us, please. I've been dying to hear what you have for us.
So, I mean, going with the word Olympic is a slight stretch because I started with an Olympic story and I understood the assignment and I was so proud of myself. And then, like, halfway through the book, I had to quit. I originally read a book about fencing, and he was an Olympic fencing athlete, fencer.
Oh,
Um, and it just dragged on. It was 50 chapters long. I finally like went to Goodreads to like try and find out what everybody else thought about it, and the reviews are all the same. Like we liked it, but we really like it just didn't do it for us. Like we didn't connect with the characters or nothing really happened. And so I quit halfway through and I
okay.
went to a rugby book because rugby is technically an Olympic sport. It just wasn't about an Olympic event.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So I haven't read a rugby book before. So this one was by Pippa Grant, who is completely new to me, and I just absolutely loved her writing. Like it was just brilliant. It was witty. Um, I thought the title was a little bit long. It's called Until It Was Love, a complicated situationship rom-com, which I sort of felt like was the entire book description in the title.
That's
And it's
wild.
Wait a second. I want to break this down.
yes,
It's a complicated romance. Say that once more.
a complicated situationship rom-com, and it's part of the Copper Valley Pounders book number one. I had to write it down because I'm like, I'm not going to remember this.
The
Copper Valley Pounders.
and that's the name
The
of the
Copper
rugby
Valley Pounders is the rugby team. Yeah.
Delightful.
the pound. Like, okay.
Well, it's very funny because so the main love interest is Fletcher Huxley, and he's there to promote his team as much as he can. So he's always wearing like gear that says Pounders, but particularly sweatpants that has Pounders written across the butt. And so it becomes a really funny part of the story.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
it was so great. So Fletcher Huxley is a rugby player. He's kind of down on his luck. He was playing over in England, and something happened between him and his coach, and he was basically like fired and traded off to a team in the US. And they're professional, but they're like the lowest division professional. Like they're not where he was. He was like at a Premier League situation. And so he's been demoted. He's kind of arrogant. And he's also happens to be is a brother's teammate enemy situation. So he's a teammate of Goldie's brother, but they hate each other. And so he's not going to be happy when like him and Goldie finally start dating.
Oh.
Goldie, she was a former soccer player and she had a career-ending injury. And so she had to pivot to becoming basically a career/life coach. So she's like very upbeat and peppy, but she's also like when you sort of get to know the character, you know that she's also like dealing with her own sort of struggles. Um, and she's moving to London in a couple of weeks. So that's like the sort of like the tension in the story. So the other part of Fletcher Huxley that you really need to know is that he has a mustache, and his mustache is basically his personality and his identity. And Goldie hates his mustache.
Wait a
So
second. Why do I envision the ones with the little curls on the side, like the villain mustache?
you know what I was actually picturing um Travis Kelce when he grows his mustache for
Okay.
like
Oh.
because you sort of are like this is good looking guy and that mustache is just ridiculous. And so that was kind of like what I had in my head when I was reading this because like I was trying to think of like who's good looking that can kind of pull off a mustache. Not many men can.
Well, yeah, just the mustache is a tough one. I mean, if it's part of the whole facial hair, goatee, or beard,
Mhm.
but just to have a mustache, yeah, I would think Travis Kelce was probably the inspiration, unless this book is old. Is this book an older book?
You know, I forgot to check. It's pretty new because I
Okay.
think she just finished the second one in the series. So it's like within the last 2 years, I want to say.
Okay.
But I feel like the mustache is in fact like its own character in the story.
Oh,
And so Goldie is now living in the city where her brother plays rugby, but she doesn't really have any friends or family. So her friends are a bunch of these elderly women who are hysterical. They're funny. They're very like sassy. Usually I hate when there's too many characters, and sometimes when there's like some older characters, you're kind of like, okay, like we get it. But these ladies are funny. They're kind of like the Golden Girls are your friends. So they are just fantastic. Like I want to go out and like make some older friends. Um, So they're great. So again, the mustache becomes like a really like pivotal part of the plot because there will be an accident with the mustache and there will be, lots of repercussions and whether or not he grows it back. And it's just, yeah, let's just go through some of the tropes. It's Grumpy Sunshine. So again, he's a grumpy rugby player. She's Sunshine because she's like a life coach and she gives all this, life advice to people. So basically the meet cute. So she's with the older ladies and she's at a blood donation thing that was set up.
Blood drive.
Blood drive. Thank you, Livy.
Aren't they in tents?
Okay. Blood drives?
Blood drives. Don't they give blood and you're in a tent? No?
I don't know if it's a cookie or something.
Yeah. So yeah, there's this whole part about that. I don't know if it was in a tent or if it might have been like related to the rugby center, like if they were sort of the ones that were promoting it or whatever. Okay. But it's her and the older ladies and her little gang are the ones who give out the snacks and like monitor people and check them and make sure they're okay. Aww. And Fletcher, Goldie notices that Fletcher, while he's giving blood, starts like changing color, and she knows he's going to be one of the ones that passes out. And so she's about to like go up to him and tell him like, sit down, we'll have some sugar, get your blood level back up. And of course, Fletcher is just kind of like this brooding, grumpy guy, and he doesn't want to listen to her. And he goes to stand up and he passes out on top of her. And so basically her first meeting is with the mustache in her face. And you find out that she actually met Fletcher like once before, like maybe 10 years ago, and he was really rude to her. So she absolutely hates him. So all the older ladies are like, oh my God, that hot man like passed out on top of you. Maybe you guys should date or whatever. She has this history with him and she can't stand him. And she's like so turned off by the fact that he's fallen on top of her and basically the mustache is in her face. So after this happens, he decides that he needs to apologize to her and make it up. And by doing that, it sort of like creates a frenzy where basically the media sort of finds out and they think that they're dating. And so Goldie realizes that she can use this in her favor because she's kind of having a fight with her brother. Her brother has been like getting his nose involved in all of her dating in the past few years and kind of scaring off her boyfriends. So she decides, how wonderful would it be if I start fake dating the guy he hates most on his team? And so it's so comedic the way it ensues. Of course, they're going to fall in love. First of all, the banter, I just cannot tell you enough. The banter, like I wanted to write down some of these one-liners, like these back and forth to each other, lots of texting, which sort of reminded me of the heated rivalry where it was just very funny text back and forth. Like I couldn't put this book down and it was just so good. But again, the tension is they start falling for each other, and Goldie is going to go to London because she has this 3-month opportunity for life coaching with this institution that she's been a fan of. And she doesn't want to turn it down because she turned it down once before for her ex-boyfriend, and she doesn't want to have that pressure again. And then you have Fletcher, who some of his baggage is just sort of like, he feels like he's been abandoned by everybody in his life. His mother died when he was young. His coach was like his family, and then suddenly his coach just fired him and didn't like really give him a reason. And so he's working through this idea that like, is he aging out of rugby? And does he have any like, can he be an athlete much longer? And what's he going to do with his life when he's not an athlete? So like, there's a lot of like just nuances in there, a lot of psychological things. And it's just really interesting. And this is a book where unlike the book you read, Libby, there aren't all these tangents. Like everything that sort of happens is for a reason. It's really fun. My only complaint is that there are children in the book. And I have nothing against children, but we have to like get through chapters of children talking. And they're talking like children where like nothing's spelt right. And I'm just like,
so the dialogue is as if the kid is exactly how the kid would be speaking. So the words are, that's an interesting choice.
It's annoying. Because it's supposed to be like a 3-year-old talking and you're supposed to be like trying to like talk like them, and it's just like, okay. So that was my only real complaint about the book was the children.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you know how we feel about that, so no complaints here.
Yeah,
children are
children are tricky. Yeah.
It was her brother's, it was her niece, so it's her brother's child, which again added to the comedy value because Fletcher is hanging out with Goldie and her niece, and her brother's going to find out, and this is just going to cause more tension, and it's really, really funny. Like I think everyone should read this.
And the title again, because I just keep thinking Pounders is the name of this book.
It's called Until It Was Love, a complicated situationship rom-com. Copper Valley Pounders book 1.
Okay, right on. And what was the page count like? Was it reasonable?
So off the top of my head, I want to say that it was actually like 40 or 50 chapters, which was like, again, my sweet spot is around 30, 35 chapters at the most. But because I was reading it, electronically, sometimes I believe that my font is a little bit larger than most people would use, and therefore my page count looks like it's up a lot.
Yeah, I do that too. I have it pretty big. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like looking at the percentage, it's like 400 something. And I was like, is it that many pages or is it because it's like
I think it's because you made it bigger. I'm not sure though.
Okay. Gotcha. We're on so far we've got rugby. We have, was yours ice skating?
It was ice skating. It was pair skating because they were jumping. It wasn't just ice dancing.
Wait a second, para skating. Oh, so what do you mean they're jumping? From great heights?
There's ice dancing in pairs, and then there's pairs figure skating where they do like the jumps together.
Oh, are you saying pairs or para?
Pairs, as in there's two of them.
Said para skating, right?
Oh
yeah,
no, sorry.
Are they jumping like with a parachute? Maybe
that's what I thought. It was like they're parachuting onto the ice.
No, that would have been more entertaining for the middle 200 pages.
that would have been. Okay.
No. It's like I can't think of any of the people. It's not like the actual dancing where it's like more. I mean, they have dancing sequences, but they're jumping because they talk about like Lutzes and sow cows and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, got it. All right. Well, I have snowboarding.
Ooh, okay.
Which I didn't know was an Olympic anything. The book is It's All in Your Head by debut author Sabina Norquist. And it releases February 10th, 2026. It's by Hachette Grand Central. And it is a fake dating, slow burn romance between two disabled characters. One is a former Olympic athlete. I read the first 100 pages and I'm 1,000% in. So I think this might have to be a theme for a future episode is I've read 100 pages, I'm 1,000% in. My reading has slowed down considerably. So, and this book, I'm going to show it. I actually got it from the publisher. The publicist was kind enough to send it to me. And it is 369. No, not 369 pages. It's less than that. It is 364, which I think is, for me, is a good number, right? But I've just been very slow. So I read the first 100 pages. I'm really, really into it. This is what it's about. So Skylar is a chronically ill woman living with a rare neurological disease that causes debilitating physical symptoms. She's a college recruiter by day, and in her free time moderates an online support group for people living with chronic pain and illness. Pike is an Olympic snowboarding medalist who experiences a disabling injury that ends his professional snowboarding career. And Pike is the hot new guy that joins Skylar's support group. Due to a series of events, which I will not share, Skylar and Pike enter into a fake dating arrangement. And for the record, the fake dating plot of It's All in Your Head is the most original I've ever read. And I've read a lot of these fake dating and it's all like, okay, this is what it's going to be. Like I had no idea how we were going to get to this fake dating. And it was so original and authentic to the situation and the lives of these two characters. And I wish I could share it. I really do, but I'm not. Because you have to read this. Like there were so many welcome surprises on as like each chapter. All right, let me not get ahead of myself. So it's also important to note that when Skylar agrees to this fake dating with Pike, she does not know anything about his past. She doesn't know anything about the snowboarding world, doesn't know that he's uber famous, and he's even like created his own snowboarding moves. I'll be honest, I know nothing about any of those types of extreme sports and whatnot. Again, didn't know it was a professional sport, didn't know it was in the Olympics. I love when in the normie celeb trope, one person doesn't know that the other person's a celebrity.
Yes.
So I really liked that aspect of it. And as you know, I like the celeb normie thing. So this book has, and again, in the first 100 pages, and I'm tough because I've read, nobody knows this, I have read so many books since, you know, we were on our hiatus, but you'll never hear about them because I read the first 20 pages and I'm like, I'm out. So this, to get to the first 100 pages and I am so invested, is a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This book has banter. Great banter. It's quick, it's snappy, it's clever, and it's not aggressive. So I've noticed that often the banter that people like, or the banter that people say is really well written, is often aggressive and kind of antagonistic in tone. And that's not the case in It's All in Your Head. So, I mean, yeah, of course, when it's an enemies to lovers, you like a little bit antagonism. But I've noticed that banter, even when it's not an enemy situation, sometimes tends to just be aggressive. To, you know, it's just so lovely. Like they're getting to know each other. They're both smart. They're both very caring. He is a doll. The guy Pike, he's such a doll. Okay. And Skylar is one of those people that's like, I'm done with relationships. I don't do it. People don't understand the life that I live and what I have to deal with on a daily basis. And he also is new to the world of living with a disability. So he's very compassionate and sees her for who she is. So it's really great chemistry between the two of them. There's delicious sexual tension, three-dimensional character development. And again, that's only in 100 pages, okay?
You're only a third of the way.
That's right. So let me tell you, I mean, I expect to mention this book again once I've finished it. Because so far I'm really enjoying it. I recommend It's All in Your Head by debut author Sabina Nordquist. Now, there is a book I wanted to mention because I just found it today and immediately downloaded it. And it is Ski Crossed Lovers.
Oh, I love the title.
Yes, and it is a male romance. From what
Seymour.
Yes. I think so. Is it? Yeah, I believe it. Okay. I think it is. Okay. So Ski Cross Lovers by Allison Temple is a queer male romance. It is book one in Love on the Podium. So there are other Olympic books in here. I was like, I wish I had found this sooner. So Love on the Podium is a 6-book multi-author high spice collection featuring male, sapphic and polyamorous pairings, releasing weekly. It began January 19, 2026, and they're regularly releasing. So this book, the Ski Cross Lovers, released
is it the same author, or is it just like an anthology?
It's multi-author. So the first one is by Allison Temple, and then there's different authors.
Okay.
And when I read one of them is polyamorous, I'm like, what sport do you think that would involve? Like luging or curling? Polyamory and curling? Anyway, this is what it's about. Canadian ski cross phenom. So ski cross, I guess, is the high intensity where you're speeding down the hill, the mountain. Cedric has spent his life chasing speed, glory, and his best friend. So this is a friends to lovers.
Ooh.
Yes. Best friend Austin down every mountain they could find. They've always pushed each other harder, faster, closer to the edge. Until one night, Cedric falls in a different way. One kiss, one touch, a tumble into something neither of them planned for. Suddenly, Cedric's dream isn't just about Olympic medals, it's about Austin. The way he makes Cedric feel weightless, the way desire hits harder than any crash on the snow, the way one night leaves Cedric craving more. But every fall has consequences. One mistake on the mountain leaves Cedric's future in pieces. He's shot at the games, his friendship with Austin, and the love he never expected to find. Because some falls don't just end a race, they change the course of a life.
Dang.
Talk about that. So I'm going to read that in preparation for the Olympics. Well, it's time to mosey on out of here. Carri, thank you for joining us. You are a delight. You are my cousin. You're her cousin. You're everybody's cousin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us, romance readers.
Happy reading, everyone.